That is just a crumple phone.
That is just the crumple phone.
And then they could start an app where folding phone enthusiasts could meet each other. It's called Hinge.
Ayo, I like that. What is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm David.
And I'm Andrew.
And Marques is out today because he's doing some more Frisbee things because he has to be a professional.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Hopefully he's doing pretty good. They are not like they usually go into this tournament as like the favorite. They are not. So he's got
I was
some
just
hard
going to
work.
say, wait, is there any more backstory to this? Because I don't know, like you obviously are more versed in the lore of Ultimate. Could you really quickly give us a rundown as to what is happening, what's special about this one?
Club National. So this is just the tournament within the US and it's not the professional
They
league.
play in a club?
Yeah. In the club.
In the club.
We all fam. Oh God, I feel like such a boomer saying that out loud. Yeah, like this is kind of like what Ultimate in the US has been for a while because there wasn't a pro league or anything. You play on these like localized teams and then you play through like sectionals, regionals, nationals. So you play locally and branch out till it's the top in the country. This is that one. I know he's already played Worlds this year, which is different, and he's played Pro. Ultimate is the most confusing thing ever. Ultimate players are the people keeping the sport back because they can't make up their mind doing anything. So yeah,
Wow,
hopefully he does well this year.
Well, they may not be the favorite, but they are my favorite. Today's episode is episode 256, which means if every episode of Waveform was a unique value, it could be stored in a single byte.
Wait. That was fire.
That's right. Thank you. Anyway, we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. We got the Qualcomm Snapdragon Summit that has just happened out in Hawaii, so we're going to be talking about the new chipset out there. The AirPods hearing test actually went live a few days ago, so we got a chance to try that out. And also, we have had the opportunity to try both the Snapchat Spectacles, which audio listeners
in the studio right now. Yeah,
Andrew is looking at right now. And then Andrew and Ellis had the opportunity to try the Meta Orion glasses. We're going to have a little section where we kind of talk about both, what was better about each one. And,
we'll pit them against each other.
Yeah. And then at the end, Marques will be here for a small period of time, just not really here. He did an interview with someone at Meta, and so we're going to play that at the very end. But first...
Huge news.
Take it away.
Magic Mouse 2.
Oh my God!
There's rumors of a Magic Mouse 2, Magic Trackpad 2, and new Magic Keyboard. And spoiler alert, it seems like they're all exactly the same, but with USB-C instead.
Don't do this to me, Apple. This is the hardest thing.
Wait, there's nothing wrong with them.
Ellis? Is that Michael over there?
Okay. What was that? Beyond the click, the port on the bottom.
Oh, cry me a river.
Oh,
It's awful.
Oh my God, cry me a river.
Bro.
I have to stop using my computer for 5 minutes every 9 weeks.
Is the Magic Mouse charging on the bottom actually just a Pomodoro timer?
Dude.
Just every 3 months you have to do it instead?
You don't complain when your Ferrari's in the shop every 4 weeks, guys.
Yeah, relatable. Okay.
That's all we have for that.
Okay.
Wait, you're not gonna push back on me calling the Magic Mouse the Ferrari of mice? Really? You're just gonna let that hang?
I mean, they're both
That's on you.
nice looking drivers.
They both are aerodynamic.
That's true. That's true.
We can move on. Wait, but what's new with the trackpad?
Yeah,
though?
so is there anything new
I
with
think
these?
all of them
They're
are just USB-C. Yeah, which we all
you
kind of
serious?
thought was going to be a while ago. Or Marques thought was going to be a while ago. All of us told him, of course, they're still going to keep it Lightning. But
Really?
looks like we're finally USB-C.
Well, I mean, hey, every time my Magic keyboard dies, and yes, I'm using a Magic keyboard, and no, I will not apologize for it. I have to ask Adam for a USB-C to Lightning connector, and it is always a bad time. So if they're going to do that, I guess it's beneficial.
Well, and if it needs to be said, I hope the new Magic keyboard uses the new MacBook Pro keyboard platform and not the old Butterfly.
Is the old one? Is it currently using the butterfly
I don't think
switches?
it's using
I don't think it's
the
using
butterfly
it.
switches. Because I hated the butterfly switches with
I think that was-
every fiber of my being.
I'm pointing to a Magic keyboard right now, but yeah, it definitely does.
It definitely feels better than the
Let's see.
12-inch MacBook
I feel like it's
Scissor switch.
scissor switch.
I don't have a problem with the Magic Keyboard.
I don't
I think
have a
it
problem.
feels pretty
no,
good.
but it's like
honestly.
identical to the. Okay,
It's not.
really?
It's definitely not. Butterfly was like even less like scissors
Travel.
like this. Butterfly.
The microphone just rose on David out of
Well, we
nowhere,
can
like
cancel.
3 inches.
Scissor is like this. Butterfly is like this. And I'm sorry to audio listeners.
It's even confusing when you're looking at it, to be honest. But feel wise, the Butterfly was terrible, and
Yeah.
Scissor Switch is fine. I don't love low profile that much, but I have no issues with the Magic Keyboard.
Yeah.
I remember like when we did that typing test a while ago, I won using a keyboard that was like crazy expensive. Everyone's like, he only won because he used that. And then I went on my Magic Keyboard and typed faster than what I did.
Dang.
Like, if you're just, it's about being used to a keyboard.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, thanks for entertaining me.
But it's USB-C.
that is good. Snapdragon 8 Elite. So Qualcomm has a history of every single year releasing a new chipset. Usually it used to be the 845, 855, 865. They were kind of going along with that cadence. Eventually they switched to 888 because it was a lucky number or something.
Oh, AAA.
Yeah, it was weird. And then the next year they did Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. They did 3 of those. And then now apparently the new chipset is called Snapdragon 8 Elite. And that's sort of a play on their laptop chipsets, which are Snapdragon Plus and Snapdragon Elite chipsets. And so I think they're trying to communicate, one, that they're sort of shrinking those chipsets down to a phone size because they did pretty heavily modify the architecture quite a bit. It is also 3 nanometer, so it should be a lot more efficient. And Qualcomm is quoting a lot of big numbers here. They said the chip should be about 44% more efficient, which is pretty massive. 44% is a big increase. And the 8 Gen 3 was already extremely efficient, so that was nice. 33% additional ISP throughput, which an ISP is the image signal processor, which means it can take in more data, which means theoretically you should be able to do things like 4K 120, 4K 240 at some point, maybe stuff like that. It is significantly beating the Pixel 9 Pro XL Tensor chip by a factor of 2 in many by more than a factor of 2 in many categories. So seems good. Ironically, there is a big dispute right now between Qualcomm and ARM that has just escalated. And ARM is giving Qualcomm 60 days to fix this dispute. Otherwise, they're revoking the architecture access, which could be horrible. But ARM and Qualcomm both benefit from their relationship immensely because that's where both of the companies make a ton of their money.
Do you think that's a negotiating play to release that to the public?
Absolutely.
During the event while they're all in Hawaii?
Probably.
Yeah,
right.
That came out yesterday, right?
It came out 6 hours ago. It was today.
While everyone's chilling on the beach right now with a Mai Tai talking about chips.
Yeah, I guess the problem was that Qualcomm purchased Nuvia, which had a separate licensing deal with ARM. And I guess when they purchased them, they didn't renegotiate the licensing deal. So they said that ARM is saying that it terminated the licensing deal, but Qualcomm's saying that it's not a big deal. Anyway, it's a little complicated. I doubt anything will really happen. I think they will probably just settle it in court and people will get paid and we'll move on. So either way, I think that we're going to see a bunch of different phones with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset this year. The Xiaomi 15 series is apparently the first set of phones to use the chip. And the Asus ROG 9 series is coming out in November. So.
Which is kind of confusing because the ROG 8 came out. We were looking this up because we were just talking about smartphone awards and trying to make sure we get all the phones in before the end of the year.
Which is tough.
Which is really tough with these two announcements right after we kind of did our whole discussion behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
But the ROG Phone 8 came out January 14th, I believe. So just before this year. So are we going to have 8 and 9 out in the same year?
I guess.
Fun.
A lot of companies started doing that, and it's not.
We've talked about this numerous times how companies just keep pushing their dates closer and closer. The Samsung first Galaxy series used to come out around March, and now it's all the way up to the second week of January, and you wonder, is it ever going to peek into his same year.
Yeah.
ROG did that this
Right.
year.
No, I mean, Qualcomm Tech Summit used to be in December, and then it just kept getting moved earlier and earlier and earlier. It was December, and then November, and then October, and now it's like kind of in the middle of October.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a summer thing at some point. Who knows? I heard the reason was because all of these companies want exclusivity deals to be the first one to launch with the new chipset.
Okay.
And all the other companies are like, well, you can't delay us that much. So they basically keep moving the summit up so that they can have like Xiaomi release their phone first.
I can see that because a couple years ago, do you remember their way of showing off the new chipset was they made that like Qualcomm phone that was very clearly, I think it was just an ROG phone, but it had Qualcomm branding on it.
reference phone.
Yeah, so like that, no one cared about that because it was a phone that wasn't really going to exist, although it kind of was going to exist. So partnering with an actual phone that's coming out is way cooler to get yourself around. I mean, in general, the Snapdragon event is kind of boring because it's harder for us to reference it directly to a product that we use all the time. That's why it's easier to talk about Apple chips because they talk about them in the same thing as the phone releasing, where Snapdragon has to, or like Qualcomm has to be like, here's the thing we're making that could be in a bunch of different phones, but it's not even all of the Android phones. It's
right.
some of the Android phones that maybe you want or are looking at.
Yeah. They also say things like twice as fast in tasks like your browser, which doesn't mean a lot.
Didn't you say it was like Chrome?
I think they said it in Google Chrome. And it's like, I mean, usually that's just a bottleneck of your network speed, and I don't think people really notice the difference between like how quickly a browser loads.
That's why I think these events are kind of tough because they give you these big numbers, but it's really hard to reference directly where that's benefiting me in. And like and to be fair, the graphs on Apple events we've made fun of for years too, because it's just like this is 2x more than some Windows laptop or like
no numbers on the y-axis at all.
Imagine
competing laptop
using any of these graphs in school. Your teacher would be like, this isn't even a graph, this is a drawing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
And every year the summit tends to get longer and longer, and that's because they just have more partners come on and basically announce new products.
I think like Rivian was there this year. And
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did announce a Google like automotive thing 2 years ago or so. Hiroshi was there to talk about Android. They just have a lot of partners. It's a very boring event, but at least the new stuff is coming out.
It is.
Yeah. So
I have one more thing to wrap up this section.
Okay.
Stop talking about the damn chip. Why are all the nerds talking about the chip inside the phone?
Sorry.
No, I just had to. I was like, we were talking about this, and then I went on your Twitter the other day and saw this as the banner, and I was like, this has to be talking about the Snapdragon.
It was actually about Tensor.
It was about Tensor.
I got that. Yeah, I made a video about Tensor on my YouTube channel, and it was literally called on Google Tensor, ambient computing, and whatever. And the guy commented, "Stop talking about the jam chip. Why are all the nerds talking about the chip inside the phone?" It was like, bro, the video is called Tensor.
Snapdragon should open with this comment.
Why are all the nerds? Anyway, we can move on. Another thing that came out this week was the Apple AirPods Pro 2 hearing test. If you can hear that, you are officially a nerd.
Nice.
Nerds can't hear that.
I didn't understand.
Wait.
Oh, so you're not a nerd, I guess.
Sorry, I was trying to...
He was trying to do a tone.
Yeah, mimic a straight tone for like a hearing test, but clearly didn't work.
Yeah. I did the hearing test this morning. For those that don't remember, Apple basically was like, all AirPods Pro 2 are now going to be able to be used as hearing aid devices. They got FDA clearance. So now basically, if you are on iOS 18.1, you have a pair of AirPods Pro 2, you can take a hearing test, which effectively tells you whether or not you have hearing loss, and then can recommend that you wear your AirPods basically as hearing aids.
Yeah, and I thought it also was just the hearing loss thing wasn't just for hearing aids, but also because there's the, like, if you're wearing it at a concert or in loud events, it's just like you should test yourself to see what your current hearing loss is.
Yeah.
And maybe you should start using these to protect yourself during those events.
Right, totally. You can turn on hearing protection for when you're at a concert and stuff like that, which is a good idea because these headphones are basically taking all of this noise and like lowering those high frequencies so that they don't damage your ears.
Also, I think 18.1 comes out next week at the time of recording.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But you tested it this
but
morning?
I tested it this morning. Yeah.
How long did it take?
It took 7 minutes and 42 seconds.
Okay.
And I know that because I did a screen recording for Adam.
Okay,
so you
cool.
put it in the video version of the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And how easy was it? What do you have?
So basically it shows this screen and it has this little kind of glowing orb that you tap when you hear a tone.
Okay.
And so it does each ear. It does your left ear first and then your right ear. And it goes like beep, 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 beep. Yeah. And then it kind of...
Someone with hearing loss doesn't hear any of that. Go get your ears checked.
But I mean, it did... There would be like 30-second periods of time where I heard nothing and I was like, oh God. But I came out of it and it said I had little to no hearing loss. So that was good. So I guess I can keep going to all the concerts.
Weird flex, but okay.
Thanks.
You can stand right next to the speaker in the front row.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty big benefit for people that own these things.
Do you know if I could take that test on your phone if I don't have an iPhone or AirPods?
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Okay. It's not like
It's not-
set up to your health
No.
account or anything like that. It's just take it.
Well, the
whenever you
results
want.
show up in your health account, but it's not like it's like these aren't David's ears or
Okay.
like, you know.
Cool.
You know. But I could probably cancel out my results from it if you just wanted to take it.
Yeah, and then it's only which AirPods?
AirPods Pro 2
Okay.
because it needs the seal to make sure it can like yeah.
Oh,
Why
that's a
not
good-
the first
interesting
AirPods
point.
Pro?
I don't know, chipset or money, maybe money possibly.
Cool. Yeah.
Likely money. So, yeah.
I mean, we talked about how that was a lot of our favorite parts of the last Apple event.
For sure.
Was actually like the hearing aid and hearing protection part of the AirPods, mostly because the rest of the event wasn't that great. But
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the time the things that are actually benefiting you in everyday life are the things that are very, very helpful. And so
hearing does benefit you in everyday life.
I went to this Pink Floyd tribute band concert and we were sitting way too close to the front and it was painful. It was painful. So I think something like this would be actually very beneficial.
Yeah.
For that.
I would like to take it afterwards.
Yeah.
And see. I don't think my hearing's great, if I'm
Right.
being honest.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, you can probably use most wireless headphones that have ANC to like make these concerts less damaging to your
That's
ears.
a good. Ellis, what is that true? Are AirPods specifically good at that? So, like, this might be a really stupid question. What makes a good pair of hearing protection at a concert? Because, like, I don't want to go and screw up the music that I'm hearing, but I want to protect my ears.
Earplugs.
Like, I can't just go with a pair of
I think you could go with a pair of Pixel
just
Buds.
regular
That's fine.
earplugs that I want to wear to sleep and not hear anything. Or can I?
You could.
Okay.
I don't.
I mean,
I'm
headphones
going to
are
speak very carefully here because we're on the edge of
Misinformation.
health advice.
Yeah. Let's be okay.
But to my understanding,
allegedly. We're safe.
there's a bunch of different kinds of earplugs you can use, right? Most of them, like the two most common kinds you're going to see, foam and wax earplugs, operate by creating a seal, like a really, really tight seal that actually stops energy from being mechanically transferred into your ear canal. Thank you, Adam. Yep. Your body does not just perceive sound with the small bone filaments inside your ear canal and with your eardrum. You actually have lots of different ways you can hear sound. You have your
Cochlear.
Cochlear.
but I can't remember if the cochlea is the one. You say like the vibrations of your skull can be perceived as hearing. The vibrations of like your chest cavity can be perceived as hearing. There's like lots of different ways. So just plugging your ears doesn't necessarily like stop you from hearing. However, foam and wax earplugs stop sounds at a really uneven frequency rate scale.
Okay.
It's the morning. So what happens, a lot of people when they use foam earplugs at a concert, all the high frequencies go away first and the concert sounds really boring and muffled and it's really hard to hear things like a singer. And then also like big boomy bass sounds just sort of come in unimpeded. What makes AirPods really cool is because it's an active thing and they're monitoring themselves, they can give you a really flat frequency response. And if you check your Apple Watch, like it'll tell you like without earplugs, it's this, or without AirPods, it's this volume. With AirPods, you're perceiving it at this volume. Does it usually give it to you in like an OSHA safe volume in your AirPods? That's what it always tells me. How safe is that? Like, I don't know. It's the thing where it's like, how much can you trust the pedometer on your iPhone?
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, there is a noticeable difference when you put it in and you're listening at a concert and your ears are not hurting. You know,
there's a
when you're
noticeable
up to
difference,
it.
and like, there's a noticeable difference going from earplugs to AirPods. There are situations where because of like the complex nature of sound in space, like the AirPods have gotten messed up. Like I've been at concerts where I'm sort of like not in a direct path of the speaker and I'm getting a lot of like speaker reflections around the room, and I can hear like the timing of the ANC start to get a little iffy. I don't know if I ever answered the direct question.
Yeah, he was just saying, are AirPods special for any reason? I've used Pixel Buds at a concert and it was fine.
Yeah, the only earbuds that I've used and been like, this is straight up like not working are the Bose Quiet Comfort Buds.
Oh.
Where I found that those drivers did not have enough excursion to like actually do a lot of low frequency stuff. And as the drivers were bottoming it out, trying to cancel noise, they were creating harmonics. And all of a sudden, like the signals that were being created to cancel out what was already in the air, you know, were like distorted, and I could hear just those. It didn't work.
Interesting. Okay.
But I think just as far as like the AirPods, as far as I'm aware, are like some of the highest excursion drivers in an earbud, as well as having ridiculously fast compute. Like I can't really imagine things are much better.
That's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have official FDA clearance, which is like.
But the FDA clearance isn't for.
It's for being a hearing aid,
the
not
FDA
for sound
clearance isn't
protection.
for that.
Right,
it's not for sound
True.
protection.
True.
Yeah.
Also, the adaptive mode is just so good.
Really?
I used to hate it, and now I'm like, I live in adaptive.
I'm willing to give it a swing again. I just don't like
when you're
having access to
when you're in the city. It's
Interesting.
just like, it's amazing.
Okay.
Anywho,
Cool.
Anywho,
Thank you.
a lot of people were like wondering whether or not AirPods were going to be eligible for their like health HSA benefits, like if you can use your insurance for it. So far, I don't believe anyone's doing that yet, but in the past, the insurance has paid for things like a Fitbit and has actually lowered your insurance if you commit to like hitting certain goals on Fitbit and that kind of stuff. So it's possible that AirPods could eventually be covered by insurance.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, do you remember the pants with the like leg joint that helps you like walk? That I can't remember what they are called.
Not
right
the
now?
motorized
The
ones.
Arc'teryx
The goat?
skips.
Not the Arc'teryx.
Skip, I think.
Yeah.
Right? It was Arc'teryx pants, but Skip by Skip Joy or something like that was
Okay.
the name of the company. I just remember them talking about how hard it is to get to the point of like becoming a medical device where that would be accepted on insurance. I'm sure Apple is way better at doing that than like a startup company.
Sure.
But I think getting to that point is pretty hard. And I feel like this is just an assumption here, but hearing protection is like generally something you need unless you're working in the space as like a fun thing to do, where if you can do a Fitbit, they're usually like, if you can hit 10,000 steps for 20 days of the month, that's just an overall health benefit thing that they assume will make you pay less in insurance because you're a healthier individual.
Right.
Where generally going somewhere to blow your ears out is an extracurricular activity.
Fair
So
enough.
I don't know. Unless you're working in that space.
But again,
yes,
it's the hearing aid part of it.
Hearing aid
not
part of it.
necessarily
Yeah,
the
true.
hearing protection. And as a hearing aid that is like FDA cleared.
Yeah, I would not doubt if Apple's at least fighting to try and get some sort of coverage. I'm wondering if people outside of the US are like, what are you guys talking about? And it's because we have insane insurance things to cover our health in the US, and it's basically impossible to figure out.
Yeah. The hearing aid industry is definitely going to have to step their game up, though, because they're generally extremely expensive and cannot be used for things like good music listening. So
I know nothing about hearing aids.
I've heard a lot of people talk about hearing aids on on socials the last few weeks, and it's been like these were extremely expensive. They're kind of hard to get.
Sure
they're really
expensive.
the tech is really outdated. So yeah, we'll see if that happens. Now we can talk about the trifold,
There's a trifold.
the Samsung trifold.
A Samsung trifold. Rumor, ZDNet in Korea reported that it's in the works. A screen that folds twice, just like the XT. Planning to release it next year alongside a flip type product. And it says the report notes that Samsung's display wing has already completed development of parts for the trifold model, and everything is ready to hit the market.
I would bet that they've had this ready for a long period of time. If you look at the last few Galaxy Folds, they're pretty much all identical.
Yeah.
Like very close to identical.
It's funny too because this makes sense to be called the Z Fold. A lot of people brought that up in our XT thing, but when you actually do the trifold, it can make a Z,
Right.
which is very funny. Even though the Samsung is called the Z Fold, that doesn't make the Z.
Yeah.
I wonder, there were some other people reaching out to us talking about the XT and how in China it seems like a lot of them are breaking, which makes sense with the outside fold. I mean, when that's getting hit against, although their little case has that like the thing that snaps on to protect that corner.
Right.
But it seems like there are a lot that are breaking. So that will be interesting. I want to say Samsung, if they do release it, they would have a way to protect that, but they also released the first fold that everyone broke and then had to fix that. So
Yes, yeah. If it is true that they have been building this for a very long period of time, though, maybe they actually went through all those steps to check for that. But,
I want to believe that.
I want to believe. But when you send something out into the wild, it's always going to have different user use than testing it in the lab.
For sure.
So,
and we like to break things.
well, yeah.
You know what I'm most excited about?
What's that?
I really hope that flip type product is a tri-flip.
What if it flips twice? Yeah.
Exactly.
Super
it's
long. 30 by 9. Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Give me those long
David can
phones,
finally
baby.
view his pictures on his phone.
They should do it the double flip and then an LG wing hinge to the top. So it goes like
Honestly, that is the kind
What's
of stuff
the-
they show off at CES.
Isn't
every
it the
year, so.
GameCube starting animation that goes like, like it does makes the G? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the peak folding phone
my
we're getting
God.
to.
Just keep unfolding.
That is just a crumple phone.
That is just the crumple phone.
and then they could start an app where folding phone enthusiasts could meet each other. It's called Hinge.
Ayo, I like that. Nice job.
That concludes our Samsung Fold coverage.
Cool.
I think we should take a trivia break.
Okay.
The one
An
for
ad break.
trifold enthusiasts could be called Hinge 2. Okay.
Too hinged, too furious.
Too hinged, too furious. All right.
Unhinge.
First question.
Unhinge.
Dear listeners, I hope you enjoy this last episode of the Waveform podcast because Marques is going to fire us all.
We've officially
Okay.
fit in a byte of data. We can pack it up.
First question. So we give the Magic Mouse a lot of crap here, except Ellis and Michael, who love them. But there was
Wait, Ellis doesn't like it?
there was a previous version of an Apple Mouse,
Yeah.
the one with the little gray ball in the middle.
The one that's a circle.
Yeah. What is it called?
I have no idea.
I think
I had
No.
to use that in middle school, though.
I had it in
Oh,
high
It
school.
was
Yeah.
awful.
It's the worst.
Wait, I loved the little ball for my Final Cut timeline.
But the problem was it was
Side-scrolling.
Wait, are you talking about the circle one?
no.
With the G4?
You're
No.
no. There was it was like
Yeah.
clear and then had like a white part on the bottom, and then it was totally clear. It had
trackball.
no right click. It had side clicks and it had this little tiny.
That's the one.
The trackball was the size of like a bead for a necklace.
Right, I remember that.
And it was actually really satisfying.
Okay, I do know that mouse, but I was thinking of the circular
You're
one.
thinking of
that
like the
came out.
G4.
not
The,
that
the
one, yeah.
iMac G4 one that it was awful. It was
terrible.
insane.
Yeah. So what is the name of that mouse?
I have a guess, but I'm pretty sure it's wrong, and it's gonna sound really dumb if it's wrong. So let's take a break.
All right.
So Support for Waveform comes from AT&T. What does it feel like to get the new iPhone 16 Pro with AT&T Next Up Anytime? It's like when you first pick up those tongs and you're now the one running the grill. It's indescribable, like something you've never felt before. All the mouth-watering anticipation of new possibilities. Whether that's making the perfect cheeseburger or treating your family to a grilled corn on the cob, which you know will forever change the way they look at corn. Seriously, it's the best. You'll never boil corn again. With AT&T Next Up Anytime, you can feel this way again and again and again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T, connecting changes everything. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024 with Siri and device language set to US English. Some features and languages will be coming over the next year. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time, subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details.
All right, welcome back. Right now, we have the Snapchat Spectacles new version. I don't know if they're called something else, just the Spectacles.
That's actually a great question, because when I was trying to tell Tim what to put on the thumbnail this week, I was like, the Snapchat Spectacles, but not the old ones.
But not
how
the
do I
second
search
ones
this?
either.
I think you had to search Snapchat Spectacles 4, and this comes up.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have them in the office, and Andrew and Ellis both had the opportunity to try the Meta Orion glasses.
And these.
So,
I tried
Well, yeah.
both.
First, we all got
and
to
these,
try.
of course.
We all got to try the spectacles. Let's talk about, because we've talked about them on the pod, but only from the event.
Right.
Now we all got to try them. Let's talk about our experience with this first, and then what I want to do is, both of these are dev units. These are not going to consumers, and both of them clearly have a lot of things that need to be done before they come to consumers. But I kind of wanted to just do like here are the main pillars we would look at in a review, and let's give a point to each one after this.
Okay.
On like who's doing it better.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
But let's talk about Ellis is wearing them for
Prada.
audio listeners.
They're not that weird looking.
They could.
No, they're
Stunned
not.
silence.
They're absolutely not.
I
They're
will say they
absolutely
could
not.
be weirder.
Well, let's start with that. How do they look?
They look like Prada glasses.
I think they look cool. I took a picture of Brandon that is going to be in the B-roll over me talking right now. That they just look like normal glasses.
I thought that was the Meta Orions that picture was. Yeah, that's
was
not that. These are very different. These are a little more out there. I feel like just looking at you now, if I couldn't see the waveguides like kind of blur your eyes or make them look weird, because there's a
Yeah.
bunch of different like squares inside the waveguards.
In this room where there's lots of different lights and a lot of the lights are very like unsoftened and angular, the artifacts be going nuts.
Like prisming, which is something Meta told us about, which is a reason, because these are using glass, I believe, as the lenses.
glass waveguides.
Yeah.
And Meta told us the reason they didn't like those is because of lights coming in can create that rainbowy prism effect sometimes.
So that's why they use
Refraction
silicon carbide.
artifacts.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of reasons they use silicon carbide. That's one of them for sure.
Yes. I would say, though, because of the glass, I think without the lights having the problem, it feels like a clearer view through them than the Meta ones. I thought the Meta ones felt kind of tinted.
They, it's hard for me to say just on memory, but I do think you're right ever so slightly.
And one thing these can do, they have the like electrochromatic.
Tinting.
You can tint
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
It is very cool.
But back to how they look. The amount of temple wing that comes back behind your ear is like 4 or 5 inches.
This may look effortless wearing these glasses with headphones. I promise it's not. They barely both fit on my skull.
They're super. I think they are 230 grams we weighed, and the Meta Orion
98.
glasses.
I'm sorry.
Metas are 98.
Yeah, 98.
But
I'm
Meta's,
American. I don't. What does that mean?
They're double.
yeah, but Meta has the puck separately, so
It does, correct.
yeah, these are all in the glasses themselves, but it does connect to your phone, so it's kind of like where's the compute, that kind of thing. But yeah, these are like 200s on the gram, so they're quite a bit heavier.
Yeah, can I borrow them for a second so I can show the audience how they fit on my head?
That was really hard.
All right, so where your ears are supposed to sit, there's not a lot of bend
Flex.
here or flex yet. So when I put them on, it crushes my
Yeah,
ears.
your ear shape does not work with these.
It not at all. I look like a when you put your sunglasses on like a
This is
4-year-old,
crazy,
and they like it's not comfortable at all.
Sure. It looks uncomfortable.
I think the top of my ear is touching the middle of my ear.
You look like a boxer.
That's exactly what I said.
Can I see
Yeah.
how they? Okay. gonna see how they fit mine.
I think form factor wise, these are a lot.
David just pulled his ears to tuck the glasses in behind them.
You look like a Pixar character.
Dude, they really do stick out really far back behind your head.
They definitely make my ears kind of flare out.
Flare for sure. They're not bending like
They're
mine,
thick.
but they're flared out, and obviously there's a lot going on
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
behind them.
yeah.
You kind of pull them off.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So does Rich. Weirdly enough,
I
Rich
think
tried
they're
them on and it
cool.
looks
I mean,
fine.
they're not like, I would never be like, wow, who designed those?
Prada.
But
Here's the question: would you ever look at someone wearing those and be like, "Oh, that's a cool pair of normal glasses"?
In New York City, yeah.
but I said that about the Meta glasses 6 months ago, and then I got fooled.
The Meta Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they literally are glasses.
No, those
They are a little thicker,
When I
but-
first saw them, I was like, "What the hell is this sentry turret face hugger on this?" And then I saw someone on Meta campus and realized they were wearing them for minutes into the
Yeah,
conversation.
I think when you just look at the glasses, you're like, oh, those are big and weird. But then when someone's wearing them and you're just
In the right
around and you're
color.
not expecting it,
Yeah.
it is able to.
These are big. And
Yeah,
these
those
are
are
big.
big.
These look like, I mean, we've all said it, but like 3D glasses.
yeah, like the new movie theater 3D glasses,
Yeah.
not the old red and blue ones, which look way cooler.
Did
Yeah.
you say the old red and blue ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, when was the last?
Yeah, because
Did
they
you describe the polarized ones as new?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
missing something here?
No, I mean
They
the
are
3D
newer than
movies
the-
now. Yeah, they are way newer.
I know, but didn't we switch away from the red and blue in like 2000? I think the last movie I saw with the red and blue glasses was like Spy Kids 3D.
Yeah, but it's still the newest ones.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
Are we going to call the iPod Nano the new iPod?
The new iPod Nano.
Is it the newest iPod? Okay. Got off track there a little bit.
Old.
Experience with these. You both experienced them before me. I tried a little bit this morning, but I think you guys have had a little more
Yeah.
Are we,
time playing with them.
comparing the actual
No,
experiences?
let's not compare it yet. Let's just talk about these. So, what did you all do in these, and what was it like in the actual AR-ness of the glasses?
So there's a few different things that you can do with the new spectacles. The new spectacles. The new 3D glasses spectacles. One of the things you can do is sort of this it kind of felt like HoloLens to me. If anyone has tried HoloLens, similar situation where the field of view is not very high because the actual projector area is just kind of in the center. Do you know what the technical field of view of these are?
I think it's 43.
I don't, but
43 degrees.
Both Meta engineers and our kind Snapchat visitor seem to imply that choosing glass as a waveguide also limits the field of view
Yes.
as opposed to silicon carbide.
Okay.
Like it's not just the projector.
Right. But it's definitely kind of condensed into the center of your field of vision.
Absolutely.
So just like HoloLens, you sort of have all these different experiences that kind of only work if you're staring directly at them. One of those experiences is, I mean, they had a whole playground of experiences, which was a pretty cool thing. I mean, they've clearly been working on this technology for a really long time. And so internal at Snapchat, they're just building what are the craziest use cases that we can do with it. They had a classic one, which is where they just have a T-Rex that's walking around and you see the scale of it and everything. But again, without a huge field of view, as soon as you remotely turn your head, it just starts getting cut off.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
it obviously we don't have any proof of this. We're not in Venice Beach hanging out with the Snapchat folks, but they made it seem like there's a pretty large ecosystem of developers already doing AR. They call them lenses.
Yeah,
AR,
lenses.
Like each experience is called a
Well,
lens.
yeah, because Snapchat lenses are also just the AR experiences you use in the Snapchat app on your phone.
Totally, but when we were doing the experiences, I kept asking, is this an in-house one or is this a third-party thing that you guys have loaded onto this demo unit? And he was like, honestly, I can't even keep track anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I could see people developing on these, but it is extremely expensive to develop on these for some reason. Wasn't it? It was $99 a month.
I thought these were about $100 a month and you had to purchase a year. But I guess as a developer, if you're developing for something, that's not crazy. If you're a company,
Yeah.
I guess, or
Yeah.
even if you're planning to make something that's going to be
Wait, but
hopefully
is
making
that
money.
per pair though?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna get expensive.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So a big differentiator, I would say, is the Orion glasses have really good spatial pinning, whereas these are much more like HoloLens, where it's just got a sort of a field of view, a smaller field of view, and then when you look around, things are there still, but it's not like, you know, the spatial awareness and pinning is not quite the same.
I'm wondering if, like, is the pinning that much worse, or is it just the field of view makes it feel so much worse? So it's 46-degree field of view on the Snapchat Spectacles and 70 on the Meta Orion glasses.
Jeez.
Okay.
That seems like a significant number, and it feels significantly different wearing both of them. Like, the Orion glasses, if you really got to the edge of your view, it would happen for sure. This feels like I'm fighting to keep things in my view, and especially if it's close. I did like the Lego experience, which just puts like some Legos on a block, and just by like turning my head to look down, I would just like saw off half of the Legos that I was looking at.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not that they weren't pinned well on the table. It actually did like a really impressive job at that. But just anything I tried to do, I was cutting part of it off.
Yeah.
It's a significant amount of the time.
Okay.
So I didn't get to try the eye tracking part of the Orion glasses, which these do not do.
Oh, yeah.
I did find both the spatial pinning to be better on Orion, and I found and I think this is kind of the same technology, the hand tracking to also be way better on Orion. Not that these were unusable, like totally usable.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt myself like trying to do things to like make them work better, whereas the Meta glasses felt pretty indistinguishable from the hand tracking on a Quest.
Sure.
Where you can just do all the same.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you. A lot of people that have tried Orion have been like, this is our best look at the future yet. And they seem very excited about it. But people have tried this and they're not really saying that. And I tried these and it felt like they took HoloLens, which to be fair, HoloLens was pretty big. And they shrunk it down into these, which is kind of impressive, even though I just don't really think the technology is incredible. So what would you say about Orion is significantly more like jaw-dropping than these?
I think, like,
if anything.
there are plenty of things, and I think we might as well just start pitting them against each other at this point, because I think it starts answering a lot of those questions.
I like the idea of going category by category.
Yeah. I first thing I wanted to ask, though, just to really pin on the field of view, we all played the golf game on this. Did you try it? Okay. That was the one that most made me realize, like,
that it's important.
Yeah, you like look at this hole ahead of you and it like zooms you back, and then it shows a line to the ball, and you kind of have to follow the line because you're shooting into this window of the golf, and then the ball is actually on the environment that you're in. But just like every time you would look, you just would see all these ways it's cut off. And I think what's kind of weird about this is because it's smaller and it's such a perfect rectangle, you don't realize when you move your head, you start chopping things at an angle, and that just feels even more weird when it's chopping stuff off, where the Meta glasses, because the field of view is larger, it was generally on the outskirts of your eyes, and when you're turning that much, it's very hard to hit an edge of something you might be projecting. This like really, we keep saying, Marques and I realized this when we were talking the other day, like kills the immersion, but AR glasses shouldn't really be immersive. But they kind of are.
Well,
I just don't know.
in the way that it's tricking your brain into thinking there's
it's like
extra
really
objects.
there.
Yeah.
It kills that pretty hard.
I think to answer your question, David, which is a really good question, is that I personally did not come away after trying both these glasses thinking like the Orion ones are noticeably more inspiring or like noticeably better than the spectacles. I think they both have strengths in different areas. Overall, though, I think the Meta glasses were a flashier pony show. Like the, I don't know.
Do you want to go down this list?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of things in there that so this to me, I think is the biggest thing that let's imagine these as if they were consumer products, like the thing that I would want it to be. Okay. And like,
which neither of them are.
Neither of them are, where, like, I guess we can kind of take this and think of it as like, this is what they should become down the line. But let's talk about form factor first. These are supposed to be glasses that you kind of wear like all day.
Do you think so? David and I were literally having this exact
I want to hear the
discussion in
conversation
car about,
that's true.
Do you wear these all day or do you put them on to do stuff and then take them off to be a person?
Yeah.
I guess I would actually fall somewhere in the middle.
All day.
Nah.
I'd say all day out and not at home.
If you're making a computer for my face, I want to be able to put it on and not think about it all day.
I don't know.
I don't want to have to think about whether I want to take it off or not.
Okay. Look, not to be overly pessimistic, but like, does everyone really want glasses that you wear all the time that are computer connected? Because at some point, the ads are going to start coming.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And you're not going to have an
argue
option.
that. Yeah.
And also, like, do we really want a future where you're sitting in a coffee shop scrolling reels, but nobody even knows that you're doing that? Like, you're going to have Subway surfers playing off to the side while you're trying to have a conversation with your mom. Like,
That's
I'm just
epic. I want it.
Sorry, Mom. Have a better conversation. My mom listens
and also
to this,
from
and she's not gonna love
Meta,
that.
from Meta. Anyway,
No.
you know.
You could block
It's
out the
super-
ads in this beautiful AR feature. instead of-
Well, yeah, with Meta Premium.
as an like the whole idea of like being able to dive into some computing by putting on the glasses while still not being like taken out of, because
Right.
I'll be real I'd rather have a coffee shop full of people with AR glasses on TikTok than a coffee shop full of people with AirPods and their phones on TikTok.
Well, they're still going to wear the AirPods.
Well, no, because of the
Yeah, but they have leakage and...
I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
That being said, I agree with you, David. I think the battery life restrictions on these things
Oh, yeah.
are a good thing.
I kind of think
don't make it
too.
better.
Yeah.
Keep it there. And yeah, the ads are really worrying. Dude, because it's a sad world when you're in the car with your bud, you're doing a road trip, and you're both wearing your speckies, and you look out the window, and you both stare at the same area, and you see different billboards.
Right now, if we're trying to
think
talk
that's
about
great.
like what's cool about these,
Yeah,
getting straight into the like potential
Sorry,
ad
I
conversation
don't- yeah,
feels
I
like
know.
we're like losing
For sure.
a little bit of the tech on this.
Form factor.
For sure. We're still having this conversation though of like, do you wear them for a few hours? So like when companies started using like HTC Vives and all of that stuff in actual practice, you know, there would be press releases that say like BMW or Mercedes is using Vives to like help design the interiors of the cars. I'm not sure if that actually was a thing that they like implemented full on, or if they did it once so that they could have a press release.
Why else would there be a hard hat HoloLens?
That's fair point. Fair point. But either way, you know, those are tasks that you are specifically using the device so that it is better while you are designing the little bits of this car for an hour and a half, right? And so I think we've looked at things like the Apple Vision Pro in a similar way, right? Like, oh, you want to do a video call, a FaceTime call with someone, and you want to feel like this telepresence and they're floating in the room and you're doing this over here. Like, they're kind of positioning it as a work and entertainment device, but they're not positioning that as like an all-day device. And I understand it's because it's a headset and not a pair of glasses. But for a computer to be on your face all the time, I feel like it would be better for people to use it for specific tasks and then put it away. The thing that kind of makes that tricky is that they're trying to make it look as much like a normal pair of glasses that you would normally wear all day as possible. And so I do think the future we're headed towards is the future where they're trying to get that 8 hours of battery life.
And that's because at the end of the day, both Meta and Snapchat are companies whose business models rely on
Attention.
increasing engagement and increasing time spent.
I mean, I think here
in the ecosystem.
both of them are building these as things that stay on your face for a significant
Right.
part of your day, not just pulling it out for when you want to use it.
Which is a shame.
I disagree. That's how I want it.
I guess like if I'm
Why?
going out for the day, I don't want to have to bring like a pair of I
Exactly
want my
that
sunglasses
reason.
to just have the things in it already,
Yeah.
and when I want that, I have it. If
not
I'm
saying I want
thinking
it
of the
on
world with the
all
sun,
day. I just want
think-
it to be a regular pair of glasses all day, and then when I need to use it, it's just there.
Yeah.
because
Which
otherwise
is-
I'm not bringing it.
Which is what the Meta Ray-Bans are supposed to
Exactly.
be, basically.
well, but they have no projection.
This is
No,
Yeah.
but that's still the world that they're like looking towards, right? They're trying to make these in the form factor of the Meta Ray-Bans. That's like their ultimate goal.
Yeah.
This is all to say, as a form factor, assuming we're only wearing these for an hour at a time, these are just too big to be comfortable. They're
Oh, yeah,
just
for sure.
barely too big to be comfortable.
Form factor, the Meta Orions win
And
by a mile.
Yeah.
I'm laying it down here first. I'm pro puck.
Oh,
I was just gonna say I disagree because these don't have a puck.
No, the space you save in the glasses that I would assume is in part because of the compute puck is cool. And it fits into my fantasy of when I need to use these. I take out my glasses in a cute little glasses case. I take out the puck in a cute little puck case and I put it on the table and I use my glasses. And then when I'm done, I wrap it all up and I go back to being a human person with blood in my veins.
My perfect example, my perfect use case for this are these glasses, the Snapchat ones with no puck because the compute is in my phone. I'm already carrying around a puck. Let me just use the brains in that thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I would prefer not to carry an extra piece of equipment.
Yeah, but the only reason the Meta Orion glasses have a puck is because they can't make a phone. If they could just make a phone and people would use it, it would just be in the phone.
Well, they can make an app. That's all Snap did.
Yeah, but then Apple's going to take 30%.
No, I see what you're talking about. I still think, as far as form factor goes, I like the idea of lighter weight, more comfortable glasses and a companion. I like it. I'm sorry.
So you don't need your phone. I guess the benefit there is you don't need your phone. I mean, the ultimate form factor is just the glasses.
What about this? What about glasses that you can wear all the time, but they work so well as regular glasses that are like transition lenses or whatever that you can like have them be off, and then when you want to use the compute, you can turn them on.
That's what,
that's what
they're doing.
That's what I want.
Yeah, but I think that the idea right now is sort of just that they're always sort of running in the background and giving you like additional like AR cues and that kind of stuff. Like you don't think about it. You walk up to a new person, it says Andrew above your head.
I don't think that's necessarily they're forcing that or anything. I think we're imagining things because Meta is bad, which I don't disagree with, but I think like I don't think they've ever said that this is just going to start playing things without you asking or doing things.
But they haven't not said that.
Yeah.
And we've all used Facebook.
So form factor, which one?
the
Orion.
Orion.
Yeah. David,
But-
you too?
I haven't gotten to try it, so I have no opinion.
No, but just form factor.
I mean, like you saw them on people's
Theoretically,
faces.
Orion,
Which one
yeah.
looked more like
Yeah, the
something you
Orion
would wear?
definitely looks more like glasses.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
style points for the Speckies.
Nice.
I like
They-
them.
Yeah, they do look
They're
like
cool.
And you can call
Prada.
them speckies, which is a plus.
If I look, there's two sides. There's one side where it's like the right outfit, roll up to the club at 1 a.m., you're getting in with those. The other side is if you wear any orange at all, you will become Vector from Despicable Me. So,
True.
whatever.
The form factor I want is the original generation of spectacles,
Fair.
but with the benefits.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Those
Nice.
were the most
Okay, next
Amazing.
resolution.
disgusting.
Yeah.
That is not a question because the Snapchat Spectacles have such a better resolution than the Orion ones.
The actual projections on the Snapdragon Spectacles are what feels like miles ahead.
And
of the
we
Orion glasses.
have to say, over at Meta, they were like, we could have made it higher resolution, but we were prioritizing battery life and saving compute for other things.
Okay,
and-
so question for you guys, since you tried it, do you think that's the right trade-off? Would you take a hit in resolution to have more power like that?
I think both of the battery lives are terrible on these, so
But like ideally.
I don't think it's really like
resolution or field of view?
field of view.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I'd rather have the field of view than the resolution.
Field of view too, but I think we should, and we can talk about this more when we get to the actual experiences. Assuming that there was a major compute hit on, like either it was like literal compute or like the extra thermal load you need to be able to take up by doing that much more compute. I did find the experiences to be a lot more enriching on the Snapchat Spectacles. Wait, but those are the higher resolution ones.
Yeah.
So what the hell?
I mean, I think there's just more experiences. I mean, we can talk about that.
There's
I
also
have
just a lot of stuff you can do.
apps and experiences. The Snapchat Spectacles
So
have way more things than I think for Orion
And better things.
and better.
Like, are we going into experiences now? Are we there?
Yeah, let's just do experience. We all said resolution for
All right.
spectacles. If that's just resolution,
Tech companies, David and I have been saying this for a while. You can't use an example of your product as, I'm too stupid to do this without a computer. You can't. So when they were like, I want to make a smoothie and my pantry is only smoothie ingredients and I just can't figure it out. It's like, or he was like, I go into the grocery store and I have no idea what a summer squash is, but my wife will be mad. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
there are you don't even need to take out your phone for that one. Straight up. Like,
Yeah. I mean, in that instance, I think it's more showing off the fact that they were able to pin the names of objects they are identifying. I think it was more that was the more important part. It was the tech demo, not what you could actually do with it. Yeah, I agree. It's like, that's a banana. Thanks for letting me know.
Or like that's the giant bag that says like stevia on it,
right?
In giant letters. It's like, okay, you read that it said stevia.
These are all.
I agree with you though. The pinning was impressive.
Yeah,
the pinning was impressive. The object recognition, it's great, but it's at the same time, it's like you're making a lifestyle proposition when you're doing stuff like this, and it's like, if the lifestyle proposition is like, do you order DoorDash so much that you can't identify basic foods? Do you need the rest of your life to be more like DoorDash? Buy these $30,000 glasses. Like,
totally. I mean, the classic example is like, I've been to so many chatbot demos and like large language model demos, and every single time it's like some Google engineer who has like 30 patents and probably a Nobel Prize, and they're just like, so how do I write a social media post about my cute dog? And then the post that gets written is, Happy Dog Day, #Saturday. You know, I don't know, whatever. We can move on from that. Sorry, that was a separate tangent. It was a separate tangent. Let's go down the list.
In terms of like the
experience. Experience.
Deviating.
Okay, so, but in all seriousness, my favorite experience was the pong, just regular pong. I played with Marques and
on the Orion glasses,
and it was because it was the first time I had ever used MR, AR, VR, and had like a really meaningful shared experience with someone else. I've done multiplayer games with people in Quest, and it was fun. And I've done a few. I had a great time with my cousins playing this like squirrel game in VR. That was really great.
I do remember that. Yeah,
but
that's so fun.
In
Great
VR,
game.
being able to like see Marques and play a game with him. And then when I asked, it wasn't built into this current thing, but they were like, yeah, if you had a room full of people also wearing the spectacles, they could like spectate, like
the Orion glasses.
The Orion glasses. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's really cool.
So you're Orion.
No, I thought that was every other experience other than that one I thought was cooler on the spectacles. I thought I think it was called Beat Lab. It was like this music making one.
Dude, I tried that one. I could not get it to work properly.
Okay.
The hand tracking is
the
not
hand tracking
great
was rough.
on the spectacles. It's pretty rough.
It was cool that it made beat though.
Yeah, and I thought the experience was so fun that I actually didn't care about how rough it was. I thought the educational things like looked really beautiful and were like really engaging. The Lego thing was I just thought I had way more fun.
Andrew, what'd you think?
The easy thing here is the room we did with the Orion spectacle or the Orion glasses was like 5 experiences maybe. It was video chatting, make a smoothie, Pong, that arcade airplane game, and was there anything?
And go on Instagram.
And the Instagram app that's also not on an iPad. Snapchat, you open up the first menu of experiences and there's already more than that, and then you can scroll for what feels like quite a while. So there are 10x the amount of apps on spectacles. Whether it's just a not so great golf game, that's another story, but the Orion things weren't that great either. Yeah. So I think apps experience is the Snapchat spectacles.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is kind of Snapchat's bread and butter. It's what they've been working on for years. And like clearly Meta has a lot going on. So they're a lean team,
Oh my goodness.
It is funny that they built an Instagram app for AR before they built it for the iPad.
Makes me mad.
Can't make that stuff up.
Let's go, since you guys both briefly talked about it though, like controlling. So I can't just call it hand tracking because it's different on the Orion glasses. There's hand tracking as well as the bracelet.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we counting the EMG band?
Yes. It's part of the package, I feel like.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it, which I think by itself is a great thing that Meta did, was like, you can get this, but you also don't need it. So if you pass your glasses off to someone else, they can use hand tracking.
Yeah. So I never actually got to try the EMG band.
Oh, really?
So I can compare them both on computer vision hand track. Should I do that? And then I'll let you guys dive into the band. So the winner here for me was Orion. And maybe it was because I'm used to the Quest system and I'm familiar with the gestures and how to make them really clear and stuff, but I felt like it more accurately got that. I did feel like the Snapchat spectacles had really nice and easy physical buttons on them, and I'm looping that in with just like general bandless control that I thought was really cool. And but overall, I didn't other than the hand tracking clarity, I didn't find one of them to be dramatically better than the other one. An interesting thing to note is if you like hold the Orion glasses, there's cameras everywhere on them. If you look at these, there's only 2 cameras on the front, but on the bottom, despite it looking like smooth plastic, there's actually infrared cameras.
Oh.
And those are the downward facing cameras. I think they actually might be right there.
These like little...
I don't actually know where they are, but I do know that they're in there, and that's how they look down at your hands. And I thought that was a really nifty fact for us to give you here at Waveform.
I think it's pretty easy to describe how good the band was, and that's imagine the
Dragons
Vision,
Nice.
the Apple Vision Pro. Like, first of all, you get to use your eyes to look at things, which I think is like the best way of selecting things inside of AR VR
When it's calibrated correctly.
When it's calibrated well, which you do a calibration process in
You just said you do.
the Orion ones.
Sorry. Say it again.
So imagine the Apple Vision Pro eye selecting and tapping, except because you have that wristband, you get feedback with it every time as well.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I think it's like so much better. And then being able to do like flipping and scrolling is awesome. That band itself, and the fact that it's like very minimal and doesn't feel like you're wearing this giant like handcuff or anything. It's
right.
In fact, Marques was wearing it. We went to eat lunch and forgot he was wearing it. He just thought it was like...
Oh, he never took it off?
He never took it off.
You forget you're wearing it, and then you're like, whoop, there it is.
Hey, yo.
Because it looks like a whoop.
It does look like a whoop.
So I think control-wise, Meta wins like hands down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hands up.
Well,
No,
hands
down,
literally
because
anywhere you want.
Brandon was using it with his hands behind his back,
Wow.
which I don't think you...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say hand behind his back, but that was just
Right.
about-
Yeah,
Right.
that is kind of crazy though, because we talk about on the Vision Pro, it has like a really wide field of vision for what you're doing with your fingers, but that's because it has those lenses on the bottom area where it points down, but you can't do behind your back. I don't really know why you would want to do that, but at least you could, you know.
I mean, I technically like in my hoodie could be doing
true.
controls inside of my hoodie.
Yeah, or like, I feel like a lot of this is going to be used for evil stuff. So when you're in your big living room and you're pacing.
Behind your back.
Oh, right.
The evil villain pace.
Yeah.
Because evil humans plot with their hands behind their back. Evil flies are the ones that plot with their hands in front of them.
Friction, yeah.
Anywho.
Damn, I was so close to cutting that, but now I have to keep it. That was hilarious.
Thanks, man. All right.
Pinning we kind of talked about. I think
pinning and tracking is the same technology, right?
like I feel like tracking, I think of hand tracking, and pinning.
What's the difference?
I'm talking about like pinning things in the physical world and them staying.
No, I get that. But like, is it not the
it's
same
tracking
thing? It's just tracking a 3D space.
With the Snapchat spectacles, when you like lay something on a table, if you walk away and come back, is it in the same space?
I had a window floating by my desk that I
Yes.
came back to. And
Yeah,
it was
it
still
is.
Really?
sitting
On
there.
these?
Yeah.
It is. I can confirm.
If you think about it, that's both of these companies know how to do that already. Snapchat's been doing it with AR things inside of your phone and Snapchat forever. They're good at pinning the dancing hot dog guy on wherever you want.
Yeah.
And Meta's been doing it in the Quests.
We've
Like,
been able to do this since like the 3DS.
they're both great at it. So I don't know if I have a clear winner on that. It's easier to see all the things you pinned on the Orion glasses because it's 70-degree field of view instead of 46-degree field of view. But
Yeah.
Right.
they're probably both pinned pretty well
Yeah.
from what we've tried. I mean, it's also, we've all tried these for 20 minutes each, maybe.
Yeah.
So not anything too crazy.
Yeah.
Speakers. It's minimal.
Look, if you're going to ask me which pair of these speakers is better, that's like asking a pizza chef, like, who makes a better slice, Lunchables or Lunchly? It's like, neither of them are pizza. Like,
One's got mold on it, though.
yeah, you're right, no bad example.
This will be my only thing. It's not even sound quality. Whenever anyone was using the Meta glasses, I never heard it as an outsider. These spectacles, whether the volume was just too loud, but I felt like I heard everybody using these in the
The
office.
Meta Ray-Ban glasses are good at when you're playing music, just playing them directly into your ears and not being that loud.
That is true.
So
That could be user error. And I don't know if we just turned these on too loud, but
mean-
everyone I heard with this, I heard you guys.
I
With
think
Meta, I
the
didn't.
Meta Ray-Bans, like they probably took those learnings from the Meta Ray-Bans, and they definitely like those are products, so they have to be out in the real world and work correctly. These are extremely demo unit.
Yeah.
and I know that the Orion glasses are also demo units, but they still tried to make them more product-like.
Well, and you're saying they most likely they took the learnings from an actual product that they did.
They're like an evolved version.
That's the only reason I would give Orion the speakers right now.
I did not come away from those experiences feeling like they were significantly different in any way.
Except for isolation, I guess.
Yeah, but I was the one wearing them, so
fair enough.
Battery life, this is literally just a number.
Orion is better.
Yeah, by double.
Yeah.
But that makes it worse. For the reasons I said earlier.
Well, even if you want them, but wouldn't you rather than if you're using it minimally to then have to charge it less?
Nope.
Okay. The last thing I have on here is just the actual lens material itself and how that affects using them. At first, I was going to say the Snapchat spectacles because
glass.
They're glass, and I thought it felt like a clear. I keep wanting to call it pass-through, but seeing is just what it really is.
AR.
Yeah, because the silicon carbide had what felt like kind of a tint, and like it almost felt like I was looking through something. But then now seeing these in more direct lights and seeing that prism effect, I do think that like affects the actual
I have
like things on your screen.
Can I see the glasses? I just feel like in order to say the next thing I'm going to say, I need to
put them on.
The index of refraction with a glass waveguide is worse. And it does create weirder artifacts, weird rainbows. And it is a little clearer. The thing that I would describe the like overall
clarity,
opaque experience is, and I understand this is something that very few people have like actually seen, but sorry, I'm taking off the glasses. It's very awkward. If you've ever gotten the chance to hold a raw like LCD panel, like not in an enclosure, like just hook up to a power supply and a control
everyone does
board, and then you unhelix all of the crystals at once by setting it like a pure pattern. That is what it looks
I know
like.
exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Okay, but engineers listen to this. They might have done that.
I still think very few people have done that.
All right, so everyone go to Alibaba.com. But that's what I would compare it to, like unhoused LCD, fully unhelixed.
Does it change your opinion at all that using silicon carbide potentially 10x is the price of whatever it is?
Well, that's an interesting point here that I think we can. I mean, it's all dev stuff, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
These are available for people who want to develop for it outside of Snap.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It does matter.
And they're like $120 a month for at least 1 year. So
expensive but doable versus the other one is basically unobtainium unless you work for Meta.
Yeah, and it seems like, and if you listen after this ad break, Marques is going to do an interview with Boz, and I believe he threw out the number 20,000 to 30,000 a unit. And I'm pretty sure he did not fight back on that.
Look, dude, Instagram not on a phone is expensive.
So those units are significantly more expensive.
Yeah.
They did say something interesting at that briefing, which was they believe that silicon carbide is the future technology for this product class when it becomes like a widely adopted thing. But they also said if the industry decides they're going with glass, they're ready to make the switch. Like they're not willing to die on the silicon carbide hill, even though they believe eventually it will be the dominant waveguide material.
Well, Evan Spiegel told us that he thinks that glass is going to be where it's at. So
exactly. I think. Oh, I guess that's it. I guess that's all the categories.
That's all I have. Do you have any other questions about Orion, or if you just by how we're explaining Orion, what do you think would be the more enjoyable experience between the two?
I mean, I think that the little things often make for a better experience, and the little things, in my opinion, are going to be how good it is at actually like tracking what you want to do with the input with it, the field of view. Those things are things that like you kind of got to get the fit and finish before people actually want to put it on their face. Because even if you had like really, really good software, if the input's bad, you're not going to use it. If you have really, really good software, but it only works here, it's not going to be immersive.
Yep.
So I think that kind of stuff is the stuff that's eventually going to win out. This isn't to say, I mean, I'm sure that Snapchat is working on much more advanced
yeah.
versions of these that have like much wider field of view and all those different things. They'll probably release something in the next year or so.
I totally agree. Like, as much as I want resolution to be so much better, the field of view and literally wearing it on my face where it's not folding my ear in half is like the entire experience itself.
Yeah.
So I have to like vote for the Orion glasses on this. I would not be surprised if the eventual consumer version of both of these look vastly different.
Totally.
Because like that chart of what the Orion glasses looked like over the last couple of years they showed us, the first one was gigantic.
Yeah.
And then within like a couple years, it was down to something that actually is under 100 grams.
Yeah. I still really want to try Orion because a lot of people were like, it's absolutely the future. It's incredible. And I just don't get that from AR right now.
You have to look, I think, and maybe you'll agree with me on this, you have to look at it in the most optimistic viewpoint possible to come to that conclusion. And I think if you can see like how far it's come to get to that and how much they have to do in so small of a form factor and like do all the stuff, that is super impressive. But if you just took that pair of glasses and went to like a friend of yours and said, hey, try this out, they would be like, this is so, why would I ever use these?
Interesting.
Yeah. I think, and this is no shade to anyone that said the Orion glasses were the future and amazing, but I think if you had tried the Snapchat ones first, you would have probably, like, I don't really think the Orion glasses in particular are like this super special thing. Also, remember, these were debuted as part of like a briefing. Like, people didn't just try these; they listened to executives talk about how good they are for an hour and then tried them. Like,
but we do that with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sometimes we go to Hawaii for a week and and look at Qualcomm chips.
Yeah,
I have a free idea. Any developer can take this for an AR experience. It's called anti-meditation. And its goal is to do the exact opposite of what a meditative experience is supposed to do. So the whole idea is like you have your glasses, right? And then I'm assuming if you have the glasses, you are wearable out. You've got the Whoop, you've got the Ring. In this universe, you've got the Theranos chip that's like tracking your blood, and all of these health metrics, your 8 sleep mattress, all of them on the lenses as like a permanent HUD. You've got like 60 health bars.
I know where you're going.
And the whole idea is you can constantly just look and see what's going on in your body. And over the years, your personal, like, instinctive relationship about your own bodily innards will be disintegrated by the concept. And eventually you'll be completely detached from all your inner thoughts, feelings, and urges.
Isn't this just Brian Johnson?
I was literally just about to say that. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Brian Johnson goes through this every day.
So if you want to steal that idea, it's all yours. It's officially in the public domain. Speaking of Brian Johnson.
Okay, so after this, after the next ad break, Marques is going to be talking to Meta CTO Boz about the Orion glasses. Etc. So we'll cut to there soon. But first, you thought I was going to say trivia. Just letting you guys know the BOOX Palma 2 has just dropped.
Let's go! They added a phone!
They didn't. That would have been great. Has a new processor. It has the fingerprint reader is built into the power button now. And it runs Android 13. And that's it.
Did you say it didn't have a camera?
That is a cheap version that's only launching in China.
Okay.
But the official BOOX Palma 2 still has the exact same camera and the exact same resolution screen.
Yes.
And the
Dude,
exact same everything. And it's the exact same price.
People spend so much money like on like photo editing apps and like After Effects filters and like all this stuff to make their photos look a type of way. And that BOOX Palma camera just nails it in body, bro.
Excuse me, that BOOX Palma photo document scanner.
It's such... It's so dope. I love that camera so much.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get it to
I'm bringing my books back tomorrow. It's been a few weeks since I've dailied it, but man, I gotta celebrate with my Palmers out there.
Yeah, so we'll have to get a BOOX.
It's
whatever.
books, but
I
I
like
think
BOOX.
I think
BOOX is
for
better.
us,
We'll get one in the office and we'll test it out, and it's probably going to be exactly the same as the first one.
Hey!
But at least you'll be able to buy them now because it was very difficult to buy the BOOX Palma
because
prior,
the number
they were so
one
popular.
BOOX Palma influencer in the world just created a storm.
You and David Pierce probably sold 80% of their market.
David, I was first. Actually, I think you might have been
Actually,
first.
I think that who me?
No,
David Pierce. Yeah, I
Sorry.
think he was first.
I think I don't know.
No, I think the dumb phone video is before that.
I don't think so. They
he,
did a.
he mentioned it in a newsletter, I think, and was like, "Oh, I haven't tried this, but it's kind of cool." And then I shocked the world by doing it. and then I think David wrote it up again.
We'll do a deeper timeline dive.
Yeah,
coming up.
But,
okay. Until then, let's take it to trivia.
Trivia. Second question: what is Boz's real name?
Like his.
Is
first
that really
name?
it?
Yeah.
Like his first name?
I will give bonus
full
points because
name?
Ellis has an actual question, but no,
It's-
I want the full name.
Oh, okay.
I'm throwing in a bonus question just to keep you on your toes.
What's the bonus question?
I just gave it to
was-
you. That was the bonus question.
Now we need the real question.
Yeah, now you're getting the real
Oh, that was
question.
just the bonus?
That was just me messing with you guys. So what is Boz's real name? Now Ellis has a real question.
I do have a real question, and what's hilarious is I didn't write it down because I did write down a question that sucked, and then I thought of a better question while I was over here,
Okay. Nice.
which is the
Rigatoni.
the oregano, the original Macintosh, aka the Macintosh 128K, had a lot of features that its competitors had, but it had one utility feature that would be repeated on the iMac G3. What was it?
Can I have a hint? Because that feels very broad.
I'm trying to think of a hint. What would be a good hint?
The feature.
I'll give you a hint when we get to the answer.
A similar feature. Well, like, okay.
I don't know. Ask me a question.
Define a utility feature.
Something that you can use.
The computer. I don't know. Like,
Something that-
give me an adjacent, like, utility feature. Like another utility feature that the computer had.
This is kind of the one. I mean, it's the original Macintosh. It wasn't a very
The
usable
utility feature.
It's the feature here. It's a design element.
Wait. That doesn't help at all.
This is one of the iconic parts of this computer and the iMac G3.
I have a guess.
I have a guess also now.
I had the iBook G4 clamshell.
Yeah, that PowerBook
Yeah, the PowerBook.
that shipped with Tony Hawk Pro Skater
No,
4.
not the PowerBook. The iBook. The one that looked like a clam.
It looked like the clear
And had a
colors
handle.
that
It had a handle built into it.
It was a laptop with a handle.
Yeah. iBook G4, G3.
Crazy. Who would ever put a handle on a computer?
We'll answer those questions after the break.
Support for Waveform comes from AT&T. What does it feel like to get the new iPhone 16 Pro with AT&T Next Up Anytime? It's like when you first pick up those tongs and you're now the one running the grill. It's indescribable, like something you've never felt before. All the mouth-watering anticipation of new possibilities, whether that's making the perfect cheeseburger or treating your family to a grilled corn on the cob, which you know will forever change the way they look at corn. Seriously, it's the best. You'll never boil corn again. With AT&T Next Up Anytime, you can feel this way again and again and again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T, connecting changes everything. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024 with Siri and device language set to US English. Some features and languages will be coming over the next year. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time, subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details.
All right, Boz, thank you for the time.
Yeah, of course. Glad to
and
be
for
here.
the expertise. Okay, so I'm holding a transparent version of the Orions, and these are fully functional. Like everything fits and works in these.
That's right.
And when they're transparent like this, I can see that there is a ton of stuff happening in here. What is the most challenging part of getting to this point from all the previous much larger versions you had?
That's right. There's two parts to this that are hard. The first one is the displays. Just having them exist at all in any form factor is super hard.
Yeah.
And obviously the challenges of the tightness. And then the second one is the thermals. I mean, the reason it's as big as it is, and we worked hard to get it down, is the, how much technology is running in there is putting off heat, and that will cause it to shut down. That's why the real version has magnesium. This clear plastic one we use as a demo, but actually would shut down in about 30 minutes of use just because of the thermals.
Yeah.
So these ones are actually magnesium, this kind of very cool coated magnesium to allow more thermal dissipation. So actually these run at the limit to the battery life, about 2 to 3 hours of active use.
Yeah.
And honestly, you cannot believe how much we have to put in here to cover eye tracking, SLAM, obviously, the displays, all the wireless, all the audio, all the microphones.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit in there.
It is incredibly efficient. I mean, you have the custom silicon, you're doing a lot of processing to turn the 7 sensors on the outside into usable data, tracking the outside world, tracking the eyes. I noticed there's only 2 sensors on the arms tracking the eyes.
That's
right. It.
Yeah, we've got two sensors in the arms and then glints of infrared light coming from the inside of the lens.
Yeah.
And that's enough to track the eyes really effectively. And we've been so pleased that people have noticed that we've gotten, we think, to industry-leading level of eye tracking in this tiny form factor. That was obviously a tremendous feat, not just of hardware, but of software as well.
Yeah. So obviously these aren't going to be shipping to everyone. These are an internal prototype that was at some point considered maybe plausible to ship.
When we started, we wanted to ship it externally.
Yeah.
And actually, amazingly, the technology is working as well as we'd hoped it would back then. The cost ended up being much higher.
So that's my question.
Yeah.
So obviously there are pieces of this that cost a lot. It's low volume, of course, it's more expensive. But what does getting to a lower price actually look like for these? And what is a price that feels like a good target for potentially the first ever AR glasses that people actually get to use?
Yeah. So the major driver of the cost, 90% of the cost, is in the display architecture. And these are custom micro LEDs that we designed, developed, manufactured ourselves. They're individually hundreds of thousands of nits and brightness. And they pipe through these waveguides, silicon carbide waveguides, which is a very cool, I'm glad we got this with us, very cool material.
Yeah.
And a very challenging material to work with, like very hard. And there's not really a supply chain for growing silicon carbide crystals of this clarity at this size, and then manufacturing is tough. And that was really what ended up being the thing that set us in the product path of making this an internal prototype that we're using to develop the software for future versions. There is some good news though, which is that other materials have some trade-offs that are tough, really tough to maintain the field of view that we have without super high index refraction materials like that.
Yeah.
But other materials are much cheaper, much lighter.
Like glass, you were saying.
Like glass, lithium niobate, high index refraction glass. Like there's a lot of materials that we can still do a lot of the same kind of holograms in space, really cool visual artifacts that you can manipulate, and ends up being potentially cheaper, smaller, a little thinner, maybe even a little bit brighter. So there are some trade-offs that it's not all bad news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, these are also super, super dense and just tech in general. And the fact that literally the magnesium on the outside is a heat sink for the components on the inside is a testament to how well integrated this is. Talk to me about how you decide about the future of these products. And okay, we have almost no supply chain now for silicon carbide, but we think that this is the best option to at least give a shot. What are your thoughts on exploring other materials?
Yep.
Is this going to potentially be opening a door for many other manufacturers to try silicon carbide, and maybe that becomes the way forward in the future?
Yeah, I love this. First of all, we've always been multi-pathing this thing. So when you're building something this risky, actually, honestly, you probably had as many failures as we had successes to get to this point.
Yeah.
We had a lot of technology paths that dead ended, but we had enough paths going in parallel that some of them made it through enough to make this whole product. And so the same is true. We're going to continue to pursue silicon carbide. We're also pursuing lithium niobate and high index glass. And we're also looking at novel materials actually in research. We've actually run a very cool thing that I haven't told anyone about before. Took a large language model and trained it on material properties.
Okay.
And have now identified a candidate set of materials that could have incredible optical properties and be much cheaper and lighter to manufacture.
Did you ask Orion for?
We just use Hey Meta. That's right.
Got it.
And so we've been working with FAIR on that. So we're pursuing every path we can.
Yeah.
And what is really exciting to me is with AI in particular, we see a lot of cool products between the Ray-Ban Metas that I'm wearing now and these Orion glasses that are all super valid.
Yeah.
So what if I had AI? Do I need a huge display if what I really want is to get my answers more efficiently, just visually back to me? Then I can have a smaller field of view display, a smaller product, a cheaper product, and that's going to be fine. As far as what the price is going to be, it's funny. I did have some of the folks on our research team who've been around a long time. In particular, our chief scientist, Michael Abrash, who's been through several generations of computing, and he reminded me that he paid modern equivalent of $25,000 or $30,000 for his first computer back in the 1980s, and that wasn't uncommon. And that would be what we're talking about as a retail price for something today. And so it's not outlandish. I do think the expectation that we have as savvy modern consumers is a lot higher than that. So we want to drive the prices down. It's hard for me to imagine full AR glasses coming in for less than a cell phone, given that they literally have more than a cell phone's worth of technology in them.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of products like these Ray-Ban Metas that I'm wearing now, that between that and this kind of full AR glasses that are pretty great, and then we'll hopefully come in at price points in between.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people see this and this is super cool and this is futuristic, but there is a potential like lineup of different products at different price points.
For sure.
I've been saying Google Glass is ahead of its time for so long
Yep.
because every time I see these, I always remember Google Glass had some of this stuff, even though it looked kind of weird. But like, I always picture walking through New York City with a little arrow in the corner of my head to tell me where to turn for the next subway stop. And the fact that that's actually now potentially with these tracked over the actual street, for example, in real time, just all these examples pop into my head of things that this could do for regular people. Is there a killer app that you think is going to convince people that AR glasses are actually the future?
Yeah, as they say in our industry, there's no bad ideas, just bad timing. And I think in the case of Google Glass, they didn't respect how much people care how they look. And I think that's one of the things we've tried to design. One of the reasons we're working with Luxottica on these glasses is to really respect that. The killer use cases are, frankly, this is one of the reasons I love building this internal prototype. It's a fully working product. You've used it. Like the operating system works, like you can run apps, you can like get it in and out of the system pretty easily. A lot of our ideas of what was going to be great have not been as great. We talked about the idea, we used to always talk about, oh, we're going to have a chess game between us. But chess is like a very fiddly game. Actually, if you and I wanted to summon a chessboard, we would just summon a 2D panel between us and play it that way. Yeah. Whereas a bunch of things that we thought maybe wouldn't be great have been great. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. For me, at least, video calling, which I was very skeptical of. Why would I want a video call from my glasses? I actually found it very compelling. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm hands-free. Yeah. I could be animated to the other party via a codec avatar. And I'm just like, yeah, casually doing whatever I'm doing and taking a video call. I would probably do more video calls if that was a technology that I had. We never would have guessed that before we built and used the prototype.
Right.
So it's still super early. I don't think we've identified the killer app by any means.
Sure.
But I do think, watching video in downtime, things that I would normally kind of take my phone into my pocket to do, but like it's inconvenient. I think those things, we underestimate the degree of friction that little movement creates. That's what we've seen with the Ray-Ban Metas with cameras. That little bit of friction. You have a great camera in your pocket, but that little bit of friction is enough for me to miss a picture with my kid, or to not want to take my camera out and disintermediate myself from the experience.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of things that we're going to learn just from having this prototype internally and being able to use it and play with it.
Yeah, that's my always huge question is like, I feel like I'm so focused on today's gadgets that I have a hard time picturing a future without smartphones. I feel like we'll always just have a thing that we just carry. But to your point, there are little things like that where it feels like that is something that it actually does better than smartphones, which is cool. I've also been wearing something this entire video that I don't know if anyone's noticed, which is this wristband on my wrist, which is a crazy tech in itself, that it's looking at electrical impulses inside my arm to determine which fingers are touching. And I've heard you guys describe this as a very high ceiling input.
That's right.
With potential amazing future stuff. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so this is just the beginning. Today, you're using it to detect taps and touches, and it's nice that you can have your hands completely at your rest, which is, especially if you're walking, you don't want to walk with your hands out in front of you. But over time, we think we can do a lot more with it. For example, internally, we have a demo with that wristband, I can detect my handwriting. And so I could do text entry just by handwriting in my pocket.
And I can't believe that. Okay, so you're in space, not even holding a pen.
No, just at rest, and you're
just at rest, and you're just writing things in air, and it can detect based on the electrical impulses moving through my arm, roughly the shapes that I'm drawing in the air, and then create words from that.
That's right. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we have that. And if you had one on each wrist, for example, if there was a watch on the other hand that had the same kind of EMG technology built into it, you could also type at rest, and it could absolutely detect what you were typing with very, very high accuracy.
Wow. Okay.
And so we think there's a lot of upside to this kind of thing. And we've also discovered, this is again, the value of building prototypes and putting them out into the world, is people have really enjoyed the haptics. You have a little haptic feedback.
Yeah.
So you actually have a sense of what you're doing, how you're interacting with the system, which we think we can develop a lot more. And over time, this also should be a system that we can develop to learn you so well that over time you actually don't have to really do the full A handwriting. You just kind of do the gesture that you and the machine have co-evolved to learn means A to you.
Oh, wow. So the machine starts to learn me after a while and becomes more fine-tuned to my own inputs.
Absolutely.
Everyone's computer is a little bit more fine-tuned towards them,
That's
which
right.
is true about computing in general. That's, yeah, really interesting stuff.
We have to solve these problems that, frankly, our industry hasn't had to solve in a while, because ever since, kind of Xerox PARC and Stanford Research Institute gave us the keyboard and mouse, we've had these like direct manipulation interfaces.
Yep.
It's true that we replaced the mouse with touch screens, but like it's still very direct manipulation.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to have those things walking around with your AR glasses. So what are we going to do? And this is, I think, the beginnings of a gesture-based kind of language that you're going to have to interact with machines.
So I guess the big question is, do you actually foresee this as a next compute platform after the smartphone, or does this sort of, because there is a compute puck separately as of right now, there's still a ton of interplay between these and
That's
something
right.
I'm carrying. Do you think there is a future where we aren't carrying anything, we're wearing our full-time, like, daily computer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think this is a device that when I put it on a few months ago and the software was running, it was the first time I've been able to imagine not having a cell phone. Like, this actually, it does the things that I need to get done, and it does them pretty well. I want to be clear, like, sometimes technologies replace other technologies. More often, they find new avenues. Like, I still use a laptop, and I still use a cell phone.
Yeah.
And like, I use them both together. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
And so I think there's for the foreseeable future, even when these things exist, they're probably going to exist in conjunction with cell phones.
Because the tech has a long way to go still. Like, it's a 2-hour battery life. It's a expensive piece of hardware. There's a lot between now and that as like a real future people can imagine.
That's right.
But if you extrapolate far ahead enough with the lines of sight you have in a lot of these technologies, it feels real, maybe.
I think that's right. And I think to really put a thought in your head, looking far into the future, imagine a world where you have a universal interface with this neural interface, and you have a universal kind of display with your glasses on. Now, how do you design everything differently? Cars, homes. So your home, like the famous problem, everyone's home, like every microwave is completely inscrutable. No one knows how to work any other microwave. Like, the systems are all different.
Shower controls.
Like everything.
Yeah.
All terrible. Why would you need that? If you had, shower, let's probably for now, let's keep using those controls conventionally. But for microwave, for the kitchen at least, yeah, you don't need everything to have a clock and a display. You have a permanent display. You don't need to have a bunch of buttons on it. You have a permanent ability to manipulate things.
Yeah.
And so I think it starts to get to the point where it doesn't just have an impact on whether we're carrying a cell phone or not. It starts to have an impact on how other physical goods are designed and built. Not to mention obviating the need for some physical goods entirely. If we all had our glasses on, do I need to dedicate an entire wall of my house to a big TV?
TV, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, this is the far out, like, future stuff that I start to picture when you see how far these prototypes have come and you try to continue fast forwarding and see how good it can actually get. Well, I'm gonna be thinking a lot about this.
Good.
This is one of the most interesting pieces of tech in that realm that I've seen, even though I can't buy it and use it and probably won't be able to use it for a while. Really cool stuff.
Thanks, man.
So thanks for walking me through it.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate the time.
Cheers.
Welcome back. That was a great interview, wasn't it? You probably didn't know this, but Andrew and I were like 3 feet away that whole time. Just couldn't see us because that's how cameras work. But yeah, thank you, Boz, for coming on the show and doing a fun little interview with us. Thank you, United Airlines, for flying us to California and back. And
Thank you to my mother for
thank you,
26
Mom.
years ago.
Thank you, Mom, for believing me when I was like, I work at a YouTube channel now.
My mom does not know what that means. So thank you for letting me do it anyway.
Anyway. Right on cue.
Trivia, dude.
Dude.
Okay, quick update on the scores. Marques with 20. Andrew leading the pack, 23. David carrying the 1, 22.
Wow.
I guess in that case, Andrew's carrying the 1.
Yeah.
Always.
Anyway, question 1. What was the previous version of Apple's Magic Mouse called? Dun, dun, dun. And I guess, like, it's not really the previous version. It was just the mouse before, but, like, I don't know how else to phrase that. But the one before the Magic Mouse, what was that called?
I'm either right or embarrassingly wrong.
I really hope you're right because the name is hilarious.
It's hilarious that I'm wrong.
And Flip and Read. What do you got?
The Apple Track Mouse.
Track Mouse? No. Ew.
I wrote the Mighty Mouse.
The Mighty Mouse. Correct.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah,
It was the Mighty Mouse.
That's also the name of like a character,
cartoon, yeah.
right? Okay.
Mighty Mouse. All right.
That
Good
mouse
one.
is awesome, by the way.
Yes, correct.
The Apple one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the cartoon.
No,
That mouse was awesome.
It was not
Mighty-
awesome.
I thought it was clear.
It was fine.
Oh, yeah.
No,
there
it's
was
not-
there was a
I
clear
did
There
one.
was a clear
There
one,
definitely
right?
was a clear
Yeah.
one.
I did like this mouse.
I loved just side scrolling on a timeline, which now that's like when Marques likes his MX Master. Although
Yeah.
this is his trackpad. He doesn't even do that. But
Next Mouster.
Okay. My bonus question. What is Boz's real name?
What? Bosley, the hair loss
Bosley.
medication. His name is Boston.
Correct.
The bands?
No.
Boss Haas.
I wish.
I know this because when Marques said we were talking to him, I was like, isn't there also a Jaws or a Waz?
Yeah, there are both.
And there are both of them.
Yep.
And there's also Boz. So I had to look up the
Correct.
names.
Flip him and read. What do you got?
Andrew Bosworth.
Andrew Bosworth.
Why did you guys? What?
Correct.
How did?
Yeah, but one spelled it correctly.
How did you know that?
Better.
Why did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Did you
either.
guys both look it up?
No, just no executive
Oh,
names.
I looked it up
Like a normal
like I said,
person.
when we went to Meta.
Evan Spiegel, Eric Schmidt, Andrew Bosworth.
Do you know all of the C-suite executives at every major tech company?
Yes.
Cool.
They're all named Billy.
Ellis, next question.
Question number 2. The original Macintosh had one design element utility feature that I think it was kind of iconic for, and also was repeated on the iMac G3. What am I talking about?
Can we please have a hint of some kind?
If I'm right, he gave a hint before.
I did give a hint before.
Do you want another hint?
Andrew's gonna, yes, please.
It's on Apple devices.
No, it's only on these two, as far as I'm aware.
Is it
Are they
only
not
on
Apple
these two?
devices?
It's on
only
one other product that I know of.
What?
You want another hint? It's a thing you can hold.
I drew it.
Flip him and read. What do you got?
Oh.
David, what
Is
did
this
you
right?
put? What is that? Is that a tongue?
This is a handle. No, it was a keyboard.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is right. Is it a handle?
It is a handle.
When you said it has
Andrew's
a
on
handle,
fire.
Ellis went,
I look-
it has a handle.
No, and then I looked dead into that camera and said, who would ever put a handle on a computer?
How did I not pick up on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the iBook G3 also had a handle.
And
And that is the one other thing that he now knows that has a handle.
and the original Macintosh. And I don't know the specifics on this, but I'm pretty sure it was actually sort of a design fight in the original Apple, with the original Macintosh, whether or not to put a handle on it, because this computer is not light. It's not portable. It doesn't have a battery.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, you would never take it from place to place, but it was just really important in the design language to make it feel like a real tool, like something that could be used in that way if you needed to.
Yeah. Have you seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, the show?
I have not.
Handles and computers are a very important part of that show. Just saying.
Spoiler?
No, not really. But you should watch it. It's very good. It's one of my all-time favorite TV shows.
Okay.
What is it called?
*Halt and Catch Fire*. It's about the 80s computer revolution. It has Lee Pace in it. It's very good. 4 seasons. Each season gets better. Extremely good.
Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode of the Waveform podcast. It has been a blast. I always love when I get to sit at the big boy table with you guys. I'm about to get kicked back into my little crevice where I'm forced to produce this show from. But until then, thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Pocket Cast.
Exists.
I've heard it's good.
I love it. I use
It's
it.
fine.
It's fine. Listen to us in your Tesla. Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Roven. We are part of the Vox Media Podcast Network group, and our intro outro music is produced by Vane.
So.
Bingo!